Is it true that the Celtics banned you from ring night?
To be quite honest, I don't give a fuck, right? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because here's the thing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now, Kendrick Perkins and former teammate Brian Scalabrini are at odds, and it seems to have something to do regarding Scalabrini making some comments about Kendrick Perkins not being welcome back in Boston after making comments against their head coach, Joe Mazzulla.
That's the thing. Joe Mazzulla, this is why I picked Michael Malone. They have two Joe Mazzullas. They have the one that got the philosophy of we're going to get up more threes than you. And, you know, when they do and they hit him, he looks great. And then you have the other Joe Mazzulla who just stands over there and you wonder, like, if you take his brain out and you put it in the bird is going to start flying backwards, okay? You got that Joe Mazzulla. You know why I say that?
No.
Because he doesn't get these guys easy looks.
Okay.
And with that comment, Kendrick Perkins, lit a fire, obviously, and Brian Scalabrini, who didn't like it, his former teammate making those comments. And this is what Brian Scalabrini had to say.
So he's not coming back to Boston at all? He's not welcome back?
He's all good, like doing the other side. I think the comments about Joe Mazzulla were out of hand. You can't call the coach of the Boston Celtics a dodo bird. Like, you just can't do that. Like, I don't know for a fact if the organization is like, nah, we don't want nothing to do with Kendrick Perkins. Anybody else from 08, anybody else from back in the day, there's old timers coming through all the time. I'm just not sure that like Jason Tatum and Joe Mazzulla and Jaylen Brown are gonna love when Kendrick Perkins shows up. I'm just not sure about that. This is so funny how like the media is. A lot of people need to be spoon-fed like a baby, right? Like Joe Mazzulla doesn't call timeouts when they want him to. But then all of a sudden we're making a playoff run and LeBron James comes out and says Joe Mazzulla's a genius. And guess what the rest of ESPN does after that? They all got spoon-fed by their daddy, LeBron James. And all of a sudden now, I guess Joe Mazzulla is a genius. Like, come on, guys.
Now, shortly after the Celtics won the 2024 NBA championship, Kendrick Perkins was actually on a sports show and was asked about his absence with the Celtics, asking, former Celtics that had won championships, back to partake in, the most recent team winning a championship. And there was asked about his absence from, all the festivities up in Boston. Take a listen here at what Kendrick Perkins said at that time.
Kendrick Perkins, former Celtic great, obviously champion in 2008, current analyst on ESPN. Perk, how you doing? We missed you at the parade on Friday.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Was the parade for 2008 or was it for 2024?
Well, apparently they invited a lot of the old 08 champions back for the parade, and there was some words Scal seemed to imply there that you're not welcome back. So can you shed any light on that?
Was Scal doing that for clicks?
I don't know. I think he was just saying what he believes.
Okay, well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, here's the thing. Let me say this about Scal, right? Because right now I feel like Scal is a coward, okay? Because if you go publicly to say something like that, and I reach out to you privately, at least call me back. Like, I work in the media space too. I say a lot of things on a day-to-day basis. I get a lot of calls from coaches, GMs, players. I don't duck their phone call. We have grown men conversation about what I said on air. That's number one. Number two, was I the only 2008 member missing from the duck boat? No, I wasn't. I mean, E-House, my guy, he was there. Leon Pope, great guy, great friend of mine as well. He was there. Scal was there. And Paul was there. It was still 11 other guys missing. And to be honest with you, if I would have got an invite, which I didn't know we were supposed to, but anyway, 9 times out of 10, I would have turned it down. And it's not because I don't have love for the city of Boston, because I do. It's not because I don't have love for the organization, because I do. I love Rick Grossbeck. I love Steve Pagliuca. But that's not our moment. That's 2024 moment. I mean, like, let those guys have their moment. All right, that's number two. Number three, what people don't realize is this. When I was traded from Boston, I believe it was 2010, 2011 season, do you realize that I haven't been back to that organization since I was traded when it comes down to anything outside of, like, if it wasn't work related? Not that I don't have love, but I closed that chapter of my life, right? I closed the chapter of my life in basketball, period. I get invites to go to Cleveland Cavaliers events. I get invites to go to Oklahoma City Thunder events. And it's not like I don't have love for those organizations, but I put the basketball phase of life behind me. That chapter is closed in my book. I moved on to my new career and I focus on it. And then, with the open invite for us, all access pass, open house, like, are they going to open the doors for me? Well, I never went knocking at the doors. Okay? I never went knocking at the doors. I never pulled up to the house, so how can they be closed? Again, I love the organization. I love Wick. I love Steve Pagliuca, Cornbread Maxwell, Sean Grundy. They both great friends of mine. Jeff Twist, who's been there for a long time, great friend of mine. Johnny Joe, who works back and handles all the things behind the scenes when it comes down to the jerseys, the equipment manager and things. Great love for all those people. But I'm past that now. And I just don't understand why I got to be held to a standard, or why people got to make me feel like that I have to owe my life to that organization when that's not the case.
Now, Kendrick, definitely made his point clear. He talks about, all the other teams that he played for and how he always gets invites. He just never attends because he's on to the next chapter. Well, when it was brought up yet again on All the Smoke, which, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, he even, went after Brian Scalabrini a little bit more aggressive. Take a listen here what Perk had to say.
Is it true that the Celtics banned you from ring night?
To be quite honest, I don't give a fuck, right? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because here's the thing. I never take winning the championship for granted.
Right.
But they act like you have to be tied to that situation or that's your life, right? Like, it was an honor to play for one of the most historical franchises. I never take that for granted.
Right.
I think what ended up happening was, I said a take about Joe Mazzulla. They win the championship, and Brian Scalabrini, fucking Scal, is like, well, doors not just open for him to come back to the Celtic organization. Now, it's two things I took from there. One, Scal, who the fuck are you?
Right.
You was the same motherfucker that when we won a championship was in street clothes, hurry up and went changed into your jersey, so once we started taking pictures, you could know that you was part of the team. And I actually like Scal, but I thought that should have been a phone conversation, right? Started this season, I actually get an email from Joe Mazzulla saying, whenever you're free, if you're in Boston or we play the Rockets, I want to go to dinner and break bread.
So you gonna take that dinner with Mazzulla?
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually starting to love the way that he is.
Now, my quick diatribe in this, I think it's really no deeper than in this current media space where you have, more, shall I say, flamboyant takes on players and coaches and even from former players. I think it's easier to feel a little bit more offended by the things they say versus if this was a player that never, or this was a person that never was a player or in this organization, you wouldn't see quite as much drama. Nobody would care if Stephen A. Smith said that and he wasn't there for the Boston parade or whatever. But I think with players now getting into that media space, you're going to see more and more of this. But it is true. Like it, hate it, or love it, this is kind of the era of saying something and going viral. You see it. I see it on everything. There's not a single sports show that's not trying to go viral. It is a formula, to kind of get eyes on it, and you want to grow and, add revenue, visibility, all of that. That's everything from podcasts all the way to Fox Sports, ESPN, all of that. It actually was kind of birthed probably from the debate shows. And I would say one of the bigger ones starting out was when it was, First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. I think from that point, it turned into, say some outlandish things. Now, in this particular case, I like the way it ended. Joe Mazzulla, much respect to Joe Mazzulla for even reaching out, because he's got his own business to attend to as far as leading the Celtics and getting them back to a place where they're, winning championships, winning another championship again. But he actually obviously sees what's going on, heard what's going on, and wants to break bread, have a conversation with Kendrick Perkins, which, to be honest, that's what Kendrick said, Scalabrini should have done if he felt some type of way, or if he felt the Celtics felt some type of way. But, one could argue if indeed Kendrick Perkins felt that kind of way about Joe Mazzulla, maybe since he was a champion in that organization, maybe he should have pulled Joe Mazzulla aside instead of saying, obviously at the time he didn't have no brains. You can point blame anywhere you want. I feel like this is just going to be, kind of much ado about nothing. But shout out to Joe Mazzulla for reaching out, and Kendrick Perkins for saying he's going to have a conversation with him. Let me know what you guys think, man. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'm going to holler at you next time. Peace.